Before we start, here's a quick guide from Lord Garbelius. Please drop down in the description, give him your support, jump on his Patreon, check him out. Really good stuff. Thank you, Lord Garbelius. What's up, everybody? Soul here with another sort of Convallaria video, and today we're going to take a look at Tristan. She is here, she has got peak animation, and she is a lot of fun to play. She's been pretty awesome, and yeah, I'm not going to get too into it right there. I'm just going to get to talking about her trait right away. So yeah, let's do that right now. Her trait is Crimson Fury. Before attacking, if the target has shield, the character's damage is increased by 30% and dispels 6 shields from the target. When dealing AoE damage, the physical damage dealt is considered magical damage. At the start of the battle, the character additionally possesses Crimson Fury. When used, it enters Berserk state and can only be used up to 1 time per battle. After casting, Crimson Fury triggers unlimited resolve, lasting until the start of the next turn. Berserk state lasts for 2 turns. Pretty solid and interesting ability, or trait I should say, that lends her an ability. Really cool. Let's take a look at these different levels. And at level 2, that unlimited resolves lasting until the next turn still. The Berserk state lasts for 2 turns still, but you get that crit and crit damage increased by 10%. However, I'm sorry. Yeah, and then however, at 3 stars, that Berserk state lasts for 3 turns, and then you're getting that crit and crit damage. At 4 stars, the unlimited resolve lasts for 2 turns. And then the other 2 remain the same. Or I'm sorry, the crit damage, crit rate, and crit damage goes up to 20%. And then at 5 stars, the effect is improved again. After casting Crimson Fury, it triggers unlimited resolve that lasts for 2 turns. Berserk state lasts for 4 turns. Crit rate and crit damage is increased to 20% still. And non-instant skill cooldown is reduced by 2 turns. Energy cost is also reduced by 1. Her 5-star is unbelievable. Bonkers. Really, really good. It is definitely worth pursuing on her. I think a good healthy place to stop on her though is that 4-star. However, she absolutely benefits hard from that 5-star. Harder than most characters do from their 5-star. So I would recommend going for her 5-star if you enjoy utilizing her and using her. But the good thing about Tristan is she's not highly dependent upon it. She does not have to have 5-star. I think she functions and does her job and does it well, even at 1 star. Let's take a look at her ranks. So, taking a look at her ranks, you have 2 options as always. On the left, you have Furious Pursuit. It's physical damage, single target attack, 120% damage. Okay. If the target isn't defeated, it performs Pursuit for 20% of the current HP and deals an additional 60% damage. We've seen this before. Nothing wrong with it. I went with, on the right, Knockback Pursuit. Physical damage, single target attack, deals 70% damage. After attacking, performs Pursuit, deals 70% damage and knocking the target back by 2 tiles. I chose this because I see some utility in Tristan and being able to knock enemies back and move them around on the field. And so I went with this for those nasty challenge fights where I might want to have that extra knockback and her survivability. At rank 3, you have 2 options. As always, Fervent Lunge is on the left. This is an instant. It's a support ability instant and charges to a location within 1 tile radius and gains damage 2 for 1 turn. After the skill switches to Fervent Headbutt for 2 turns. And so Fervent Headbutt is a skill instant and selects 1 enemy within a cross shape range around the character, charges to their side and deals 70% damage and knocks them back 2 tiles after attacking. The skill switches to Fervent Lunge again. This is a phenomenal ability. Really, really good. This is incredibly useful for, like I said before on the other skill, knocking enemies back, moving them around, and even helping you set up for those AoE hits and damage procs on Tristan. So this is a good, useful ability. I would say it's fair to use a Castalia on this. You can prioritize it over the other, but I would suggest getting what's on the right. and that is Blazing Blood. This is a passive. When healthy, it adds 15% of the character's magic attack and physical attack. When injured, it adds 25% of the character's magic attack, physical attack. And when possessing a berserk state, the effect is doubled. So that would become 50%. Really, really good. Powerful. This is an absolute must-have, slap on and use. Like I said, this is what I would prioritize, and then come back over for Fervent Lunge with a Castalia if possible. At rank 5, you have two options. On the left, you get defense, ranged attack. A reaction: when hit by a ranged attack, the damage taken is decreased by 25%. Cool, interesting, neat. We've seen it before. But what you want is on the left, street style. Reaction: melee damage taken decreases by 20%. When being preempted or struck back, I should say, performs block and additionally reduces damage taken by 50%. When after being struck back, pursues, dealing 70% physical damage. This effect can be triggered one time per round. She's meant to do damage and not be stopped in doing so, and so if she gets hit in the process of doing damage, she's gonna hit again. So that's street style, apparently. That's what I'd suggest you to pick up. Over here at rank 7, on the right, you've got Controlled Demolition. This is a debuff instant that inflicts controlled demolition on a target, and so that is for the target mark. When hit by the caster with any non-gear skill, it triggers an explosion that starts the caster's next turn. At the start of the caster's next turn, or when the target is defeated. The explosion deals 20% of HP as piercing damage to the target and all enemies within 2 tiles. Then inflicts Vulnerable 2, lasting for 2 turns. I found myself using this quite a bit. I really, really like this ability. It's a good little bit of extra damage, and that debuff is also really, really nice. And so this is something you're going to absolutely want. I would urge you to use a Castalia on it if you have the Castalia to do so. However, on the left is what I think you should absolutely pick up, and that is One Punch Burial. So that's physical damage. Single target attack, deals 20% damage, knocking the target back by 1 tile, then deals 110% fire AoE damage to enemies within 2 tiles of the target's target range. If not in berserk state, the character teleports to the side of the closest ally within 4 tiles after attacking. Really cool. Peak animation, by the way. Great ability. This is what I absolutely tell you have to pick up at rank 7. This is her big hit. It has a lot of great damage, and that 110% to all enemies around. You're even getting the knockback with it. You're getting a nice show, and then of course you get the added benefit of the fire terrain at the end of that. So it's going to turn those tiles underneath them, as long as they can hold fire or turn into fire. It'll turn those tiles into fire, even giving you some zone, some control, and some dots scorching those enemies. Really good, really powerful attack right there. Rank 9 says basic attacks. You got Sealing Attack on the left. We've seen this before. I do not urge you to pick this up. This is the one you're going to pass on, in my opinion. I think you should go with Fatal Attack on the right, and so that deals 100% physical damage and increases that crit damage by 15%. This is what I think is best on her. Rank 11. She's got Destructive Storm. This is something we've seen on Dandelion and so on. It deals physical damage, 50% AoE damage to all enemies within 4 tiles of the character, and inflicts 2 random level 2 attribute debuffs for 2 turns. Really good range, really big AoE, interesting ability. However, I'm going to urge you to get what's on the left, and that is Family. It's a passive. When healthy, it performs assisting cover for other allies within 2 tiles of the character. When dying, it causes other allies within 2 tiles of the character to assisting cover for the character. After either effect is triggered, all other allies within 3 tiles of the character gain attack 2 and damage reduction 2 for 2 turns. It can be activated up to 1 time per round. This is a really cool, interesting ability. Old Dom Toretto over here with the family, you know it's what matters. And so I'd urge you to pick this up for its utility and what it can do for Tristan in different scenarios of the game. Now we also have to take a look and consider her starting ability, and that's Explosive Luxite Dust. And so this is a physical damage attack that deals 85% damage to all enemies within 2 tiles of the target and inflicts 1 random level 2 attribute debuff, lasting for 2 turns. Interesting, solid AoE damage, and at 2 energy costs with no cooldown. So this is a really good ability on her, which I have to go over and stress. One punch burial has a 2-turn cooldown at 3 energy. And then you've got this right here, Controlled Demolition, 2 energy costs, 3-turn cooldown. And then of course, Fervent Lunge has a 3-turn cooldowns. There's a lot of cooldowns on her. Now when she goes into her Berserk state, as we saw right here, it's going to refresh those things. It's going to refresh her cooldowns and get everything going again. That's really nice. You see right here, Crimson Fury. She sacrifices 90% of the current HP, deals 50% damage to all enemies within 2 tiles of her, and then enters the Berserk state and can act again. All cooldowns are reset and all energy is recovered. This skill can only be used up to 1 time per battle. That is a stinker in my opinion, but that is the way it goes. However, you're getting all that energy and those cooldowns back, and so this is phenomenal to be able to have these abilities with these cooldowns. This bypasses those cooldowns. If you don't want to go into this rage mode, this berserk state, if you will, and put her close to death, then this is probably what you're going to want to run. You're going to be a little more optimal as far as getting that keeping your HP high and doing a good AoE damage. Otherwise, you can still do decent AoE damage here with your 1-punch burial and such, but that 2-turn cooldown can be a little bit tough. And if you don't have Coco to reduce that cooldown and so on, that can be rough to endure. So yeah, sorry, I can kind of rant and talk on about it forever and ever and ever, I swear. Let's look at the weapons. Now, my number 1 best in slot weapon for her is Brutal Axe. This increases your HP by 10%, and when attacking enemies, if the enemy's HP percentage is higher than the character's, it ignores 40% of their defense. Well, her whole thing is going in, being crazy, and dying, apparently. So she's going to go in, she's going to proc, use her Crimson Fury, just go into a Berserk state, be dropped all the way down to 10% HP, and then boom, she's ignoring everybody's defense with this weapon in hand. It's her absolute best in slot in my opinion, and this is what you should absolutely run on her, if at all possible. A good strong second place is Gale's Sword. I think this is a phenomenal weapon. Right here, it increases your physical attack by a flat rate, and then of course it increases your crit damage after attacking. So that's really good for a barrel punch, because barrel punch is going to come in, you're going to hit your opponent, and you're going to go ahead and trigger this, and then the AoE is going to proc, and then boom, you're getting the crit damage bonus on that. So really, really good for that reason. And then number 3 is Tuning Hammer for me. It's a flat physical attack up, and then you're dispelling buffs with those attacks. Now what I haven't tested is whether those AoE attacks also affect those dispellings. I'm interested in knowing that and seeing that, but I'll have to look into that more, and I'm sorry I failed you in that way. And then last but not least is Denial Hammer. If you're utilizing her in a way that she's going in and she's knocking enemies back, pushing them back and moving them around, this is a good weapon for you to use on her, because you're getting that bonus 1-tile knockback on all of your knockbacks. And so that's really, really beneficial for that circumstance and in those situations. Now let's talk about the trinket. Obviously, the Blood Luxite Amulet is her best in slot. This is literally made for her. We've all gotten one for free. Thank you, XD devs. Really, really gracious gift from them. And so this has been given to you now on her release for a reason. This is her best in slot trinket. This is literally made for her. And so it increases your magical damage by 6%, magic AoE damage by 12%, and when dying, the effect changes and increases the magical damage 9% and magical AoE damage by 18%. So yeah, this is literally made for her. Really, really good here. Next, let's take a look at her number 2, and in my opinion, that is your Origin Hourglass. This increases your physical attack and magic attack by 8% and grants immunity to move and speed down. Very solid. You're getting that physical attack and magic attack up, which is really important for her. She benefits from both of those things. And so, yeah, this is a no-brainer. This synergizes really well with her ability, Blazing Blood. Back to the trinkets. I think her number 3 best in slot trinket is Space Time Ring. And the reason I like this on her as her number 3 is because of that instant teleport. It teleports the character behind any ally within 3 tiles and increases attack by 2% for 1 turn. It can be used 1 time per battle. And of course, when you get this higher in ranks, you can utilize it more. This is a rare trinket. However, this is great for positioning because it's going to help her get back into a safe spot where she's not going to be vulnerable and possibly dying. So when you go and use that Crimson Fury, you go into that berserk state, you're good until the start of your next turn, and that unlimited resolve wears off, and that's where you're going to utilize this. You're going to pop it, jump back into a safe position, and go about your business, assuming you're rocking with the 1-star Tristan. Of course, those things changes. However, regardless, it's still good for repositioning and getting in a better spot. So that is her 3rd best trinket in my opinion. Now let's talk about resonances. As you can see, I'm running the Sword in the Cup. It increases that damage by 5% and then grants 15% lifesteal. For me, I think this is essential. You want her to be able to get that life back up and to try to get herself back on the up and up and mending. And then on top of that, she's a frontline character. She has to be up close and in their face in order to do damage. I do not think she has great mobility, and so I don't really care for the resonance that gives you bonus attack and damage based on movement because I'm not moving her a lot. I'm repositioning her just to get those AoE hits for the most part, but otherwise, I'm not moving her a ton, and I don't really care for that bonus on that. I think it's only decent, and so this is what I would urge you to go with for that sustain and that recoverability. Now it has to be said, when she goes and she uses Crimson Fury and enters that berserk state, she loses 80% of her healing effect, and so this life still becomes less effective too. But once that effect wears off, that life still becomes just as effective again and is very beneficial in my opinion. Moving right along, I think her second, I'm so sorry. I think the second best resonance on her, I'll just click this and let's go ahead and take a look at it and I'll show you. I think her second best resonance on her is the Wand in Cup. And the reason that is because at the end of the turn, there's a 50% chance to gain engraving resonance. And so what this does is when using an active skill the next time, it refunds the energy consumed and resets the cooldown. The skill has a cooldown of 4 turns itself. And then of course in PvP, it changes to HP, attack, and defense up by 5%. Anyways, this is really, really good. This is a phenomenal thing to have, and so you're going to be able to get that energy back and those cooldowns resolved. And so I think this is the next best thing for her, because you're going to find sometimes you're waiting on those cooldowns and there's not a lot she can do, and you're waiting on that energy because she tends to like to use all of her energy within a single turn. And so this is what I think it best suits her as a number 2 resonance. That is, I have to clarify, number 2 resonance. Now let's look at this Tarot Whisper. Hard to deny, Dream of the Magician is her absolute best in slot Tarot Whisper in my opinion. This increases damage by 8%, and then of course if you have the hidden effect unlocked, that doubles to 16%, and then when casting a skill, for each additional enemy hit, the damage is increased by 4% up to 12%, which is doubled with that hidden effect from 8 to 24%. Really, really good. She does a lot of AoE damage, and so this is an absolute no-brainer, and boom, her damage is going to start multiplying and getting bonkers really, really fast. So this, in my opinion, is her absolute best in slot Tarot Whisper. Now, another strong suggestion for her is right here. We got the Verdict of Justice. That increases her crit and her crit damage if you had the hidden effect unlocked. Really, really solid if you don't have a good Magician Terror Whisper. There's nothing wrong with running this because it's also solid. And then for sustain, I actually would recommend as her third, Gibbous Moon. And so at the end of the turn, it recovers 20% HP if the character is injured, and she often will be. And then when the character is injured with this hidden effect, healing received is increased by 15%, and a further 30% when in a dying state. So that means a total of 45%. It will offset that no healing received when she's in that berserk state. And so this will, it won't completely reverse it, but it's certainly going to put a dent in it, and it's going to make those healing spells more effective. And then she's also going to passively heal at the end of each turn. So this for me is a very fair use of a Terror Whisper right here, one that we don't often get to recommend either. So this is really nice to see in effect. So yeah, that's Tristan in a nutshell. Let's take a look at her in combat, and I want to show you what she can do because she legitimately gets bonkers. So here we go. We love this fight because our enemies are nice and clustered up. I cleared this really, really fast to SP Rawia, or so I thought. I'd never seen it cleared so fast with her before. And then boom, this fight is going to kind of turn everything around. Anyways, yeah, we move over Tristan, I'm sorry, Tear, and we start to buff up and get set. That Cage Reverie is proc. Coco's going to go ahead and buff everyone up. We try to utilize Ida here. I don't like Ida with Tristan. It's probably going to be a team comp. The problem with Ida is she's slower than Tristan by a wide margin, so it's really unfortunate. Gloria has great synergy with Tristan. We come in over here, plan Demolition, proc our trait right there, Crimson Fury. Another Demolition charge, and here comes the AoE. The field is wiped. What damage. Don't sleep on Hasna. She's beautiful and does massive damage. Look at that 11k crit. Doing Tower 9-5 this week. She crit Xavier for 18,000. Really, really good. Hasna is unbelievably good. But this video is about Tristan, so yeah. Look at that. Unlimited resolve. She doesn't care. Hit her as much as you want. She's getting burned from Flame Sorceress, taking all these hits. She's not fussed. Unlimited resolve's fantastic. She done wiped the floor and killed almost everybody in the lobby. Tara's gonna go and do some more buffing. And get everybody set. Coco comes down, hallucinogenic shroom. Stop that cast. And then some nice AoE from Gloria. Boy's gonna reposition, jump up there. Just gonna end our turn there with Hasna reposition. Ida's gonna give a little bit of a buff. Swap there. Oh yeah. Now we just take a walk. We go hit stuff, you know, because we're mad, we're angry. That's how Tristan is. She's mad. She's stuff. But the reason we're doing this is we're getting HP back. Even though we're hitting those barricades and such, we get the HP back for it. Let's help getting her back on the move. 10,000 damage up there, and they had the high ground. Really, really good. Hasna is OP. And the reason I'm running Hasna isn't because of that OP damage. I'm running it because of that AoE debuff. Those enemies are they have 8% less attack and defense just because she's within range, and then they're more susceptible to crit hits and then also crit damage. It's really, really good. Here comes Tristan. Demolition charge. Here comes the big hit. Get out of here. So yeah, you saw it there. Phenomenal, awesome, amazing, glorious, great stuff. I don't know if you saw that in the team comp. Tristan obviously has really, really good synergy with Gloria just because of her aura and so on. So it's a really, really good option for her. I tried to run Ida because I think of that magic damage and then magic resistance, magic damage, defense down thanks to Ida and so on and so forth. And then, of course, you gotta love Coco. I think she's the best character in the game, giving you that heal, reducing their energy costs, reducing that cooldown. She's just broken. And then Tara's a very fair and good, decent support. And then I ran Hasna because I like that AoE debuff she's got with that hidden fragrance. Probably do a team comp on it. I don't know. We're going to test and experiment with some things to try to figure out what's the best team comp. But regardless, those are some decent synergies for Tristan. And yeah, that's our girl. Super peak animated, really, really good and fun to play with. I hope you get her, and I hope you've enjoyed this guide thus far. If you've made it this far, please take some time and appreciate our Patreon members. They're the ones that allow me to pull for these characters and to create this content and these guides, so a huge shout out to them and thank you. If you feel inclined to join and to join Patreon, the link is down below. We have a Discord link down there as well. Please feel free to join and jump in on that. And yeah, if you made it this far, thank you for watching. Please drop me a like and a subscribe. Take care. Good luck in all of your sort of Convallaria adventures, and take it easy. Bye.